Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 23rd of February. So let's just have a look at the data coming out today. Key news events today. Let's just pop this on today, and here we go. So we've already seen the New Zealand data coming out. As expected, it was another 0.25%. I say as expected, there were quite a few people thinking it may have been as high as 0.5% with the rate of inflation we were seeing. So it's just come in line, although there are many more expected. So we'll see how that progresses. But okay, so we've got nothing else today aside of obviously the obvious. Okay, so let's just whip that out of the way and have a look at the markets as where they're sitting at the moment then. So euro dollar, bit of a surprise in its sense yesterday, although I'll say it's a bit of a surprise. It did manage to put a lower high and a lower low. So although it was positive for much of the day, and closed positive on its open, so it say a bit of a surprise. Where to today? Well, it's almost a throw of a coin where it's sitting at the moment. Say almost, but a break of this sort of 113.51 sort of area might be a bit more bullish, although we saw that yesterday and then it just rolled off backwards. So I'm taking it carefully, and might be even safer looking at 1366 70 sort of area, 1370 area, breaking the high there. That will give us a higher low and look a bit more positive. Generally the trend is sitting southbound here still. It's the big picture still lower highs, lower lows. My preference is for shorts, but we'll see, as I say, see what develops. And I'm looking at the daily here. It's straddling its daily pivot at the moment. It's above it. It's erring on the more bullish side. Big bullish candle here at this stage, but we'll see. It's changing so much post 8 o'clock quite often. I mean, yesterday it was the 10 o'clock bar. It pushed up through, but then it failed from that. So it's a case of patience this morning with the euro. Seems like a regular statement here, patience, but it's the way it is with these markets. It's always the way it's been with the markets, but we've generally seen bigger moves quite quickly. We are seeing some biggish moves, but it's often before 7-8 o'clock or leading into it, and then we're often getting reversals later in the morning or in the afternoon, so it pays to wait. Anyway, pound dollar still in its daily basis in its range. It did have a bit of a down day yesterday. I'm just looking what's happening here, and the shorter term, it's still got this sort of bit of a bias to the upside here, hand railing that lower regression channel line, but, and it's, well, I say but, there's lots of buts around it. It is currently sitting on yesterday's highs there at the moment, and it just looks like, well, perhaps it will break through, but it might just break into that R1 and roll back. So normally I'd be looking over here and thinking, oh, it's got a decent target, but the way these markets have been rolling or running, it's like yesterday, or yesterday, this early hours of the morning, it's sort of running into that area, falling away. We'll see, but it does at this moment look like the bias is slightly to the upside. A break in the next bar above the current bar might see a continuation. Dollar yen, not necessarily a country mile, but a continuation. Dollar yen consolidated. Let's just have a look. It's the usual old story here. Bullish reversal bar there for the dollar, and yesterday coming in. Little flaggy, but the general picture here is still lower highs, lower lows. It hasn't really switched from that. It's got that bias at this stage. However, maybe again 115.14 above these prior highs here. Perhaps it will see more upside, but a lot of consolidation going on and not a lot of direction really showing itself. Aussie dollar, well, direction slightly more biased to the upside there, and it's continued through. You see the daily chart here. It's really just the bias generally trying to put in higher highs at least. Some of the lows aren't going quite so high, but they're getting there. Higher highs, higher lows, pushing through on the 4-hourly here. And same, very choppy, but that bias, it's much more of a swingy type currency at the moment than trying to catch this on a daily basis. It's as ever selling back. Well, in the afternoon there, in the morning 10 o'clock, turned round again later. So not absolute clarity with these markets at all, but a bias there at least with the Aussie. Canadian dollar, well, just seen it run back into those highs again, across the horizontal highs there. Yesterday sold off a little bit, and it's selling off at the moment. So it's I still think if we get a break above that level, we might get a bit of a push, but at the moment a lot of chop and then a bit of roll and then more chop. It's become quite untradeable for most of the time. I've got a big bearish engulfing candle at the moment. We're seeing this sort of picture across many of the markets at the moment, so we'll see. But quite often, come 8 o'clock, it's all reverse. Anyway, that's the main forex pairs. Let's have a look at the price of gold then. Morning, Joyce. Gold's been pushing up. Yesterday pushed into its R3. I think I mentioned this in the morning that it was running into that area, and it is currently finding a bit of resistance into that sort of zone and struggling a little bit. Weekly pivot sits below, could be a decent area for a bounce if it gets there. There is, as I mentioned yesterday, there is the divergence across the highs that's kicking there. But it's still yet to break any of these lows here. It's put in a few divergences and just hanging up there really. Again, another one consolidated. Not a lot to be added, but it gets bullish above its daily pivot for me. Maybe with another attempt back towards those highs, but where it's sitting at the moment, short term, it's just looking a bit edgy to the downside. Right, oil. So the gas pipeline is no longer going to be used. Well, there wasn't no surprise there, that was on the cards. But price came off yesterday, and you just expect continuation. It did break out yesterday afternoon there, but it's since, well, got back up to the prior highs there, but went quite early, hit those highs, and then come sort of sorry, I was just the day before yesterday. Yesterday it sort of ran into the highs early, but then retraced, consolidated since. There we go. So that was the previous day, running up to the highs, but I've still got a bit of a bias to the upside, without any doubt. I mean, the big picture is still pretty solid for the upside, and there's still potential. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to the $100 mark, and anything more goes on with Russia, I think we will see the $100 mark running there pretty quickly. Okay, so look at the other markets. Let's just pick up. Let's just do the crypto first. So Bitcoin got a little bit of a recovery yesterday, but selling this morning. I'm still bearish on all of these, and it's a pretty similar case here. Actually, Ethereum, similar case apart from Ethereum. It has started pushing up a bit more today, but so long as they are where they are, in the bigger picture, I mean, if you're day trading these, you might be looking at them slightly different, but certainly on the bigger picture here, swing side of things, they still to me look quite soft and bearish. I need to see something a little bit on ideally the 4-hourly at least, but the dailies showing higher lows and a bit more oomph in there. So say same picture. In fact, it's only Bitcoin that's having a bit of a mare first thing this morning. The other coins altcoins are all catching a bit of an upside at the moment, but there's nothing here I'd say, well, it looks good, it might be about time. However, Binance has bottomed here, but I'm still waiting for it to get fully showing the sign. I think it might turn around later, but it could be days or weeks. Okay, let's switch over. Indices overnight on the CSI 300. Well, bounce followed through from the London markets, the American markets, North American markets. Nikkei though not doing quite so well, gapping down and not managed to fully fill the gap. And I'm still bearish on a lot of these markets. I still think they've got further downside. If we look at the Nifty 50 here, again down at the moment, and it's just almost a case on something like Nifty 50 of watching this area about 16,820, 819 broken, and I think we'll see again a bigger move. Looking through the US markets first, and I'll come to the European. S&Ps, well, testing that level again yesterday, testing those prior lows. A little bit of a bounce through these markets at the moment. I'm not. It does get me scratching my head. Nothing new has changed really on the positive side, on the geopolitical side of things, and yet we're seeing a bit of a bounce. But I guess the buyers have got to come in at some stage. But each of these markets, Dow Jones for example here, and the Nasdaq, are all running on the low side. They're pretty close to prior lows. I mean, the Dow Jones has already broken its trend again, but as I said yesterday, the horizontal support, well, didn't quite get down to needing that yesterday. So what's up in the European markets at the moment? So the DAX 40, as it is, not the German 30 as it's got labelled on here, I just noticed, but the DAX 40, well, again yesterday, little bit of a reversal there. Not sure where it's going this morning. It's still very bearish looking on the candles. The CAC is up a little bit more at this stage, but again it's broken. A couple of days ago it broke that trend line. To me it still looks with the lower highs coming in there, there's more potential downside. And finally the FTSE's not open on here. It's, cash markets, it's not open yet, but it managed to put a decent buy in yesterday. Now that could break of yesterday's high there, could suggest further upside, move back there, but overall I think the bias for many of the markets is to the downside, and I think eventually the FTSE will follow suit. Okay, that's pretty much it for me this morning. What else was I going to have a look at? Just look at the yields, what's happening with the US government yields on the 10-year bonds. Pushing up again at the moment. This does this reflects maybe some more money will be going in towards the dollar at some stage. Generally when we see these pushing up higher, we see the dollar doing pretty well, but it's in a bit of a limbo area there. We're seeing this across many of the markets. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, I shall end it there and wish you a great morning, and I'll catch you later. Bye for now. Oh, hang on. It is the 23rd super hands. I will correct that. Got ahead of myself. What I'm mentioning, consolidation phase seems to be an area as well. Just not sure. I think looking at whatever markets you're looking at the moment, Vodafone's come back pretty well yesterday, but these markets at the moment, we need something very positive to get them running positively. I think at the moment, if it could roll back this morning if the FTSE turns down for sure. I mean, it's one of the drivers. Okay, anyway, I've got to go. Catch you in the morning. Bye for now.